Saint Tryphon is the protector of Kotor and the Kotor diocese. The saint has been worshipped in Kotor since the arrival of his relics in 809 AD. The founding of the Boka Navy and the chain dance of Saint Tryphon coincide precisely with the arrival of Saint Tryphon's relics in Kotor. The relics were welcomed by Kotor sailors who performed a dance in honor of Saint Tryphon to mark this momentous occasion. In modern times, this dance is also known as the Kolo of the Boka Navy. Boka Croats from the Bay of Kotor are faithfully dedicated to their patron. Legend says that they performed the dance for the first time in the year 809 AD to honor their patron and have been performing it ever since. The dance is their way of expressing their faith, their love of Boka, and their tradition. The Kolo or chain dance is performed by the Boka Navy in Kotor and the Navy's branches, including confraternities in Croatia. The oldest cathedral in Kotor, built by the Croats in 1166, is dedicated to Saint Tryphon. Every year on February 3rd, in the spirit of the tradition, Saint Tryphon's Kolo chain dance is performed in front of the cathedral. Boka Croats are the most eastern members of the Croatian nation and have lived in the area of the Bay of Kotor for centuries. Today, the Boka Croats are a national minority in the Republic of Montenegro. Boka Croats migrated intensively into Croatia during the last century, especially during and after World War II and the Croatian War for Independence. Over a period of only a few years, due to intense national intolerance that overwhelmed the then common state of Yugoslavia, more than 1,000 Boka Croats emigrated to the Republic of Croatia. Currently, over 10,000 Boka Croats live in Croatia. The Boka Navy is one of the oldest confraternities on the Mediterranean. Oral tradition states that it was founded in the year 809 as the Confraternity of Kotor Seamen of St. Nicholas. During its 12 centuries-old tradition, it took on more military characteristics, including the role of port authority and maritime agency. Today, it has the features of a religious confraternity. In the Republic of Croatia, people from Boka are organized through Croatian confraternities of the Boka Navy, active in Zagreb, Rijeka, Split, Pula, and Dubrovnik. Historically speaking, the first organized forms of the Boka Navy appeared in Zagreb in 1924. By 1954, the Zagreb organization became a branch of the Boka Navy from Kotor. Branches of the Boka Navy were later founded in Rijeka and Split in 1962. In Pula and Dubrovnik, cities where Boka Croats live today, the Boka Navy branches were founded in 1994. It is a great honor for a man from Boka to be appointed Admiral of the Boka Navy. In the past, 6 admirals of the Boka Navy were from Croatia, which confirms the strong ties between the Boka Croats and the Bay of Kotor. The admirals commanding the Boka Navy from Croatia have been Professor Karlo Radonicic, rector of the University of Zagreb, who was admiral in 1935. He was followed by Dr. Vladislav Brajkovic, a member of the Academy of Arts and Sciences, from 1965 until 1989. Boka Croats maintain close ties with their homeland. In September 2016, Bishop of the Kotor Diocese, Monsignor Ilija Janjic, invited members of the Croatian confraternities to participate in the 850th anniversary of the dedication of the Cathedral of Saint Tryphon in Kotor. The first celebration of Saint Tryphon in Croatia was held in Split in 1873. According to local newspapers, there were 40 Boka families with permanent residence status in Split at the time. It is interesting that the celebrations were also organized in other towns. In 1942, Boka Croats from Zagreb organized a mass celebrated by Cardinal Aloysius Stepinac. Saint Tryphon is celebrated on February 3rd in Boka Croat communities in Zagreb, Rijeka, Pula, Split, and Dubrovnik. The celebration is marked through a church service, the performance of the Saint Tryphon Kolo chain dance, and the participation of the little admiral.
Slava, Slava, Slava.
The Kotor bishop guards the religious life of Boka Croats. On several occasions, Bishop Monsignor Janic has led the celebration of Saint Tryphon in Croatia. Many Boka Croats gather at the ceremony and celebrate their traditions. The celebration happens every year, and it has been passed down from generation to generation of Boka Croats living in Croatia.
1953. godine naša obitelj došla je iz Kotora u Rijeku, bilo je otac, majka i nas 6 djece. Otac je bio u Kotoru aktivni sudionik Bokeljske mornarice i čim smo došli u Rijeku, on je nastavio isto tako ovdje biti aktivan.
Every year, a little admiral is chosen for the festivities. The little admiral is a boy between 7 and 10 years old, and he represents part of the unit. He symbolizes continuation and transmission of the tradition of the Boka Navy to new generations by being involved in the unit's activities. It is a tremendous honor for the boy and his family. Before Mass, the little admiral shows gratitude to Saint Tryphon by reciting lauds, which along with thanks symbolize the continuation of life and community. After celebrating Mass, the Kolo of Saint Tryphon is danced in front of the church. The dance used to be part of the Mass held in the church, while today it is performed in front of the church, where the Mass honoring Saint Tryphon was celebrated. The chain dance begins with the blessing by the bishop or priest that celebrated the Mass.
Svemogući Bože, po zagodu Svetoga Tripuna, blagoslovi ovaj Božji put.
The dance is performed by men only, who are members of the Boka Navy confraternities. They wear the traditional uniforms of sailors and officers. The dance represents a medieval type of cathedral dance that is performed to honor the protector and patron, Saint Tryphon, as part of Mass in the church. It is only performed on a specific day, or exceptionally during religious festivals or national holidays. The dance is performed by light movements. Sailors are connected by handkerchiefs, which makes it a type of chain dance. During the dance, 12 figures are formed that represent spirituality and maritime heritage. It combines two components. The first and basic component is derived from medieval ritual, symbolized by the movement of sailors beneath arches, with their hands raised in the air, and by a tight circle formed around officers and distinguished guests. The second component is related to the maritime way of life. At the end of the celebration, the members of the Navy, Boka Croats, and their friends gather to socialize in the rectory. The celebration ends with the merry tones of traditional songs. The gathering continues at a traditional ball called Boka Night, which marks the end of the festivity.
Originali,